Hello, hello, everybody. How you doing? It's good to see you guys. Welcome to SoulPet. Hello, everybody. I see everybody jumping on. First, real quick, this is Elaine, Animal Reiki Lady. This is SoulPet. If you have a pet that is on the Rainbow Bridge, whether they crossed yesterday or a month ago or 10 years ago, this is the channel for you. This is where you can find support and a community of people who have all been through the same thing. We are here to offer not only messages of hope and healing, but also to share with you ways that you can stay connected or reconnect with your animal who is on the other side. Tonight's topic is there a heaven for pets? We've covered this a couple times before, but not exactly in this way. And I saw a couple of your questions. But first, I'm just going to let you know I have a little bit different setup tonight. So I've got my notes off to the side, hopefully for a little bit less distraction during the main part of this live stream. So for those of you who may not have been on a live stream before, we say hello to all of our channel members. I answer some brief questions in the beginning, and then we dive right into our topic, which is all about heaven and the Rainbow Bridge and where it is really and what the real true Rainbow Bridge is and what that means and how you can connect with your animal companion there, how it's not a waiting room. And then there's been a couple other questions like, what does heaven look like from their perspective? In heaven, I think this was Pat's question. In heaven, I wrote these questions down and I can't read my own handwriting, which is why I've taken to typing some of my notes now. I've also got some notes on the screen over here, but either way, we're going to make this work. So we have a couple questions directly related to heaven. But first, I'm going to say hello to all of our channel members. Pat, as always, it is great to see you. Now, Pat's experiencing something, and that is he posts questions in advance, which I absolutely love because it kind of gives me some material to work with. But for some reason, they aren't sticking, like they're disappearing. I did take a quick look. I did a quick Google search. I couldn't find any reason why your comments would be removed. I don't have a moderation on my channel. I don't have a moderator on my channel. I have everything's very, very basic. So I don't know the answer to the question. I did see that YouTube will sometimes limit the number of posts that a person can make, but not in this case. It's within a 24-hour period. And also if there's like too many emojis and that kind of thing. So I don't have any explanation. If anyone else is experiencing a problem similar to Pat's, where you're posting a comment ahead of time, like before the live stream starts, and you find that it's disappearing, please chime in and let us know, because I really don't know what else to do except perhaps next week we do a test. And I'm going to try to start posting the notifications 24 hours ahead of time. We'll do a test and we'll kind of track where those questions are and what they're up to. All right, so let's see, what else have I got here? I want to say hello to all of our channel members. I want to say hello to Pat and hello to Kali. And I'm scrolling through these kind of fast. Donna, it's great to see you. I saw your comment also. Thank you. I'm trying to get back into regular shorts again, getting short videos. So getting back into a routine that I have not been able to get myself back into since finding myself back in Wisconsin, but we're getting there. Where we have a 95-degree day today. Woohoo! I love it. The hotter the better for me. Sherry, it's great to see you. Holly, also hello, Sharon. Kathy Reynolds, Kathy Hearing, my two Kathys are here tonight. And let's then go back and say hello to everybody else. And other channel members, as you guys jump on, I will say hello to you. I'm going to try and do a little bit different format tonight and try to get as quickly as I can into the content about heaven and the Rainbow Bridge. And then I'll open it up for a Q&A afterwards. So I will go check out some of the questions that have come up before we even start. And then I'll get right into the content. And if there's any questions that you have, I'm just going to ask you to hold them until the end. And then we'll do like a Q&A at the very end, because I want to talk about heaven, the Rainbow Bridge. And what I'd love to do for you is something called an attunement. It's nothing that an attunement is simply helping you tune into the vibration that will get you to be able to connect with your animal companion at the Rainbow Bridge. So I want to make sure that we get to fit all of that in addition to all your Q&A, which is what this live stream is all about. It's about a community. It's about a group of people supporting each other. And it's about me helping you through some of these questions with connecting with your animal companions on the other side. Okay, so let's see if I saw a couple comments scroll by here. Z, it's great to see you. Yeah, I get around. Z, I am a little bit of a nomad at heart. There's no getting around it. I love to travel. And Caroline, great to see you also. Okay, so let's scroll back for a couple of quick questions. The first one is, and I wrote these down so that I didn't have to kind of look off to the side all the time. Are there different versions of ourselves with our pets over lifetimes? That's going to kind of come into play tonight when we talk about heaven and the rainbow bridge, because the answer is yes, but don't be too concerned about that. It's all one big beautiful play. It's all one big beautiful game. And there are different versions of ourselves. There are different versions of our animal companions. And we've done different videos about this before, and we can always explore it a little bit further. For those of you who may be catching for the very first time, we talk about practical ways to help heal our heart, and we dive deep into the woo. So there's some hairy, fairy, hippy dippy stuff that we talk about, but that I'm going to try to show tonight has a basis in science, and to try to help get through to people who may not be as who don't like diving deep into the hairy fairy stuff the way that we do, but just to kind of show that this stuff is real and not in our imagination. So are there different versions of ourselves? Yes, 100%. We have been through this many times before. There are still new souls that are coming here, that are coming into an earthly existence where we get to experience all the fun stuff with our five senses. There's a reason why we sing the song, "In Heaven There Ain't No Beer." That's why we drink it here. It is because we come here to enjoy the physical, and we come back again and again and again. And it's an ongoing game that we enjoy playing. But we're growing now. We're kind of growing out of the need to. There's like a Zen philosophy that there's karma, and that we are coming back in order to be better and better versions of ourselves. Well, we're learning now how to become the best version of ourselves right here and now. Different versions of ourselves with our pets over lifetimes, and yes, we switch places too. Do pets miss the physical? All living things that cross to the other side. We're using the term the other side for lack of anything better at the moment. Um, yes, we come here with the senses, and do we miss it on the other side? That's why we come back, because we miss it. We miss some of the physical stuff. We miss enjoying the food, and we miss the love, like the emotion of love that we feel on earth, not the global universal feeling of love. So we don't need to sleep. We don't need to eat on the other side. But I think that since I don't recall what life is like on the other side, we purposely forget. And I won't be able to tell you again until I go back over there. Um, but the answer is there are some things that we miss. And I don't think there's a need to eat or sleep. And I think time is irrelevant. And I think location is irrelevant. I think all of it is much different than we think. But being in our physical body and me speaking to you like this from my human perspective, uh, I I just don't know that I just don't think that we do need to eat or sleep, and that time and everything else is irrelevant. Um, do our recent scientific discoveries impact the other side? That's a great question, Pat. And it's part of why I wanted to introduce tonight more information about the quantum field and the scientific discoveries surrounding the field, this quantum field that exists all around everything that we are actually a part of. And it's not that our scientific discoveries are impacting the other side, it's that the other side is almost impacting our scientific discoveries. We are discovering more and more and more as we evolve and grow, and this knowledge we start to be able to see it and understand it. Prior to a scientific discovery, we hadn't discovered it because we weren't ready for it yet, and it wasn't ready for us to know yet. And these scientific discoveries they're just becoming more and more understood. I'm going to give you an example. If anyone has heard of Robert Edward Grant, he does a lot of exploration in the pyramids, in the Great Pyramids. So he goes to the Great Pyramid routinely on a regular basis. There's several. He's not a scientist. He's a mathematician, if I'm not mistaken. But they go and they explore these places. They've been studied and studied and studied, and until very recently, within the past couple of years, no one in all the times that they've been into the King's Chamber noticed that there were zodiac signs all around the edge, all around the top frame of that chamber. They were there all along, but only as we become aware and awaken and our consciousness rises, then more and more things will reveal themselves. And that's going to continue. So don't worry about black holes. You are not going to be sucked into a black hole. That part, I think I understand very clearly, that there is so much more to black holes than what Hollywood has led us to believe. So Pat, if I need to explore that further for you, you just let me know. But it's more the other way around, that it's our spiritual awakening here and our connection with the other side is what is allowing those scientific discoveries to happen. Is heaven the dimension that they live in now? We're going to talk about that. I'll come back to that question. And can pets exist? This was a great question. This was Kali's question. When our animals are approaching their time to transition, do they experience life on both sides of the veil? And are they aware of that? The answer is yes. People do it as well. They experience life on both sides of the veil. I use the example of Jake. Jake was my foster dog for a long time. And as Jake was approaching end of life, he would dig a hole in the backyard. He would lay down, and for hours at a time, he'd be out. And I know from from Jake, but I also just get this strong sense of knowing about things like this, that that he was exploring. He was exploring what it was like to be on the other side, but was still physically present in his body. So yes, they can. Are they aware? That's a great question, Kali, that I'm not sure of. I don't know that they're aware that they're going back and forth. I remember Jake's human telling me that she would go out into the backyard and just touch him on the shoulder to make sure that he was still with us, and he would come back. So I don't know that they're aware that they're going back and forth between the two. And I know that even my own father did that as well, was going back and forth between the two. But he wasn't in a place where he could speak. That would probably be a good question for someone who may be experiencing that. And do they experience NDEs? We've talked about that before too, Kali. I am not sure. A near-death experience. I suspect that they do, but I don't know the answer to that question. It's something that's probably worth exploring a little bit further. And I could actually, I have mentioned before that I would love to do an episode just on near-death experience. So maybe I'll do that. Okay. And from their perspective, what does heaven look like? I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think that we'll get to that tonight as we talk about the topic. So I'm going to take one more quick look to see if we have any other channel members on, and then I'm going to dive right in here, trying to keep my focus without getting too distracted by comments. And then one of these days I will have a moderator, and then I won't have to worry about it because the moderator will be able to tell me when somebody has a question. So who else do I want to say hello to? Ella, it is great to see you. Ella has the question about the Rainbow Bridge and from their perspective. Julie, hello, Julie. It's good to see you. And Charlie, awesome to see you too. Jen, 3 years since we said goodbye to Harley, and she was a diva. And I love that you got that message that she was a diva. So hello, Jen, and our heart is with you today too. Whenever we're approaching those anniversaries, as I am for Lucy and Winston, coming up on Friday will be Lucy, and 5 days later was Winston. So I know what that's like to be, and to even know it, to know ahead of time that that's there. Oh, Jody, I didn't say hello to you. Hey, Jody, how we doing? And did I miss anybody else? And Cheryl, good to see you. Ms. Nunya, New York Business. Good to see you here with us. Okay, here we go. I love how everybody says, hi, Nunya. We're just going to call you Nunya. All right, let's talk about the Rainbow Bridge. The traditional idea of the Rainbow Bridge. This is something that we're probably all familiar with. I'm going to grab something here. This is my little memorial. I have one for Jack and one for Lucy. And at the time that Winston crossed, it was not available. But anyway, this is so it's oh yeah, that's right. My camera's over here. This is just their little, that's Lucy's fur, Lucy's paw print, and the poem of the Rainbow Bridge, in loving memory of Lucy. And it talks about the Rainbow Bridge and where it is, and it's lush and green and beautiful. And it's where our animal companions go to wait for us, knowing that they cross before we do. We can talk about the reasons for that in another video, but why do they cross so soon? But they go to this place that we have called the Rainbow Bridge. It's a poem written by, I don't know that we actually know who originally wrote it. It's anonymous, if I'm not mistaken, but it's comforting. It brings us a sense of comfort to think that there's this little waiting room, and our animal companions go there and they wait for us, so that when our soul transitions out of the physical body, we meet them there on the Rainbow Bridge, and together we walk across the Rainbow Bridge into heaven. And it's a beautiful, comforting thought to think of our pets waiting for us and walking together with them into the gates of heaven. It's just so beautiful. But I want to challenge that. I want to challenge it as a limitation that we're placing on the Rainbow Bridge, because it means that our pets are there waiting for us. And even though I believe that their time does not exist in the same way in heaven as it does, and I'm using heaven as a convenient word, in heaven as it does here, it means that we're separated until we die. That's really what it means. It means that we are separate from them until the time that we cross over. And that's kind of like it's almost a little heartbreaking thought to think that we aren't together and that they're waiting there and just waiting and waiting and waiting. And we are waiting and waiting and waiting. And I don't think there's anything for us to wait for. And I'm going to try to explain that to you. And it's the reason why I can connect with animal companions on the other side. It's how I do that. The bigger truth for me is that heaven is right here, right now, not just in our hearts. I've kind of explained it as the Rainbow Bridge is right here, or your animal companion's soul and energy and spirit are right next to you. Your little kitty cat is winding her way through your legs. It's even deeper than that. And I can see that the comments kind of scrolling past, but I'm going to let you guys moderate yourselves for the time being so that we can so that I can focus on this and hold your questions until the end. All right. So heaven is right now. Heaven is here. Heaven is now. Heaven is all around us. Heaven is it's not on earth, but it's in earth. Heaven is not a distant place. It's not off somewhere. It's not, we don't rise to it. We don't have to go there. We will transition into it. It's a place without time and without space. And it's called, I want to reintroduce the idea of the quantum field. And I'm trying to get this message across, not just to be able to connect with your animal companions, but for all kinds of reasons. When you understand that you can connect to universal intelligence, you can call that what you will. Now, I'm going to try not to use the term too frequently, but whether you call it God or the universe or spirit or the divine or the creator, whatever that higher power is for you, whatever you call that, I believe that it exists in everything. Everywhere I turn, I see the beauty of the divine, whether I'm looking at a tree or a bumblebee or a spider or an ant, or water or the clouds. I see it everywhere in everything all the time. And it's the quantum field is what science is calling it now. So if we want to look at this from a scientific perspective, there are physicists who are trying to quantify this field. There was an experiment. There were two specific experiments that I want to talk about. One was at the CERN. I can't think of the super something. It's in Switzerland or Belgium, but anyway, it's an enormous 14-mile round facility. Anyway, they do these little experiments where they have a particle and they break the particle in two so that there's twins, and they send one 7 miles that way and one 7 miles that way, and they do something to one of the particles, and the other particle responds in the same way. So that no matter how far apart they are, the particles they respond in the same way. So it just demonstrates that there is no time or space when things are closely related. And this is important because we're going to talk about the use of our heart and our energetic, electromagnetic connection to our animal companion, so that no matter where our animal companion's soul happens to go, it's still going to be connected through this field. The other experiment was an interesting one that I have not done a lot of research on, that I have to go back and find more about, where scientists took two neurons from a brain and put them into I don't know, a petri dish, and they were teaching them to play the game Pong. If anybody remembers what Pong is, Pong was like the very first computer game when I was a little girl. It was just this little, this little thing that bounced across the screen, and you had a little cursor, and you had to hit it and hit it back and hit it back. And the two neurons that they were teaching, that they wanted to teach to play Pong, already knew how to play Pong. Like it didn't take any teaching whatsoever. They instantly mastered the playing of the game Pong. And I could do a little bit more research on that, or I will allow you to do your research on that. But the fact was that there is such a thing as universal memory, and it's in this field. It's been called many things. One of the scientists who first identified that this field was real, so all this empty space that you think you see around you is actually filled with information. It's chock. It's so full of information that the universe keeps expanding and expanding and expanding, because the more we experience, the more the universe grows. And I'm just going to use planet Earth because that's where we are and that's what we know. And regardless of all the talk about ETs and aliens and Area 51 and what other species exist out there on different planets, Arcturians, Pleiadians, what none of that is relevant. Just on our little planet Earth, what we are experiencing here is causing the universe to grow exponentially. And what we are, the scientific discoveries and the things that we experience and everything that we create and imagine and invent, all of that is resulting in the universe expanding because so much more information. Think about 8 billion people on the planet. I don't know if that's true, 8 trillion people on the planet. And each one of us uses our imagination. And there's not just this group here, there's groups like this all over the world who do this kind of thing. It may not necessarily be for animal companions who have crossed to the other side, but there are groups of people who gather together on a regular basis and expand the knowledge of the universe without even recognizing that that's what they're doing. So this thing, that all this air that we think is empty space, science has now proven is not empty space. It's real. There's information throughout this space. So the first scientist, his last name was Higgs. So the Higgs field is what it's been called. It's also been called the 0 point field, the unified field, the quantum field. Those are just some of the names for this. I don't think that any physicist has settled on a name yet. They're arguing among themselves about the details of it, let alone the name of it. Two scientists, two physicists in particular. One is called Thomas Campbell, and the other is Nassim Haramein. Nassim Haramein is trying to prove with mathematics that this quantum field exists. Thomas Campbell is trying to prove it in a whole different way. I saw an interview with Thomas Campbell where the person was real spiritual. So asking a really spiritual question, a metaphysical question, and say, would you call this quantum field the Akashic record? And in his typical physicist way, he was like, well, I guess you could. You could call it the Akashic record. You could call it whatever you want. It's simply that there is memory. The universe remembers everything, everything, every thought, every feeling, every shed of fur, every scale of a fish, every single thing that ever was, is, or will be, the universe remembers, and it holds it in the quantum field. And we can think about, because we feel we are in our physical body, and so we think that we need to go into the field, but we are the field. The field is everything. We just happen to be a physical manifestation, the way that matter is organized so that we can experience something through our senses, so that the universe, or you can say God if you want, wants to expand and grow and learn and know itself. And what better way to know itself than to forget some things and then have us all relearn it again and to experience. And I'm going probably a little bit deeper than I intended to with that. But the other person who I had mentioned before that I really like to listen to, he's not a scientist per se. He is a scientist. He's not a physicist. He's a geologist. His name is Greg Braden. He has done extensive work with this, extensive work with both the science and the spirituality, connecting with the scientists and also connecting with even religious leaders to help understand how this all fits together. So it's not fantasy. It is the foundation of reality. We think reality is because we can pinch ourselves. It must be real if we can pinch ourselves. Reality is it must be real if we can connect and understand that we've made a connection. So a couple of you have been on this little journey with me before, where we have helped connect with your animal companion on the other side. But what I'm going to try to do tonight is help everyone, anyone who ever watches this video. I don't care if it's 10 years from now and your animal companion is crossed to the other side, and you type in pet loss support into YouTube, and you come up with this little video. I'm going to show you how you access this field. We're going to practice with it in order to connect with our animal companions on the other side, but you can connect with the field for anything. When you're faced with a decision, when you are looking for new direction, when you're feeling lost and you're not sure what to do, there's a field of information that you can access, and it is where the higher part of you exists. Just a small part of you is in this physical body. There's a greater part of you that has been experiencing all of this and is ready to help you. And your animal companion, this is why I think that it's most important for animals, because we trust them. They loved us unconditionally. When they were here in the physical with us, they loved us regardless of anything. If it was the worst day of our life, they were right by our side. If we were being so incredibly mean to someone, they didn't care. They loved us for who we are unconditionally, no judgment, right by our side. Didn't care if we brushed our teeth on any given day. Didn't care if we had too much to drink the night before. Didn't care if nothing mattered except that they were with us. They just wanted to be with us. And that allows for us to trust them unconditionally, to show us how we can have a better life. Now, someone posted a comment on an earlier video that I'm going to address right here. It was too much for me to try to type an answer, and feeling so guilty because they did not feed their dog properly, that their dog was overweight, that their dog had too many snacks, that they ignored the veterinarian's advice. And even though their doggie made it to 15 years old, they were feeling incredibly guilty because the end of their life was a struggle. When they cross to the other side, they let go of all of that. None of it matters. They have now taught us to be better companions. We talked about this last week. All of my animal companions have taught me to be a better companion, a better partner, a better steward, and how to have a better life for myself and my family. This just helps us be better all the way around. Not that there's anything wrong with us. We don't need to fix anything, but we're waking up. We're waking up and becoming aware. And and they're just cheering us on from the other side, and ready to help us. So you don't need to understand quantum mechanics. Quantum physics. I love to be an armchair quantum physicist, but I don't get it. I don't get some of the things that they're talking about. They go real deep. Pat, if you want to learn about black holes, go find a theoretical physicist. Who's the other guy who's really good at this? Michio Kaku, I think is his name. Michio Kaku. He is a professor at one of the New York schools, a school in New York. He's getting up there in years, and I think he's had some health concerns, so I'm not quite sure how active he still is. But that's another one. He does a really good job of explaining all this connection. One of the ways that I want to share with you that you can trust that there is this field out there is by thinking about radio and television signals, and even your cell phone. There are signals out there. Now, you can't look up in the sky. You don't look up into the sky and see channel 6. You don't look on here and see the bazillion telephone numbers, cell phone numbers, mobile numbers, whatever you want to call them, that are all over the world. You can't possibly see it. There's no way. You don't see the person when they actually text you on your phone. And think about all the texting that is going on all the time. Where are those letters? Do you see the alphabet flying through the sky? No, we do not, because they are part of the field. It's a vibration. It's a vibration that I'm going to try to help you get to tonight. When you're watching the news, which I don't do anymore at all, I barely watch television. When you're watching the news, you don't look behind the TV and go, "Where's the anchorman? Is he back there talking?" You know that it is it's vibrational frequency, and they're on a certain frequency, and you use your remote control to access that frequency. So that's one way. That's one thing to keep in mind. The other is that energy leaves an imprint And I know that there are those of you who have been to places where you feel energy, you can feel it. You walk into a room and you know right away if people have been attracted to each other. I mean, you can just feel that electricity. Or you walk into a room and you know right away that there's been an argument going on. Or you go someplace like Gettysburg and you go onto a battlefield and you feel the density of that energy. That is what we're talking about. But for the universe, it's everything. Our bodies can pick up certain energetic frequencies. The universe picks up everything, every wag, every purr, every nicker, every single soul connection, every beat of every heart, the universe picks up, whether it's horse, dog, cat, person, it does not matter. So the rainbow bridge is, I would say, I would refer to it as a frequency in the field. It's a frequency in the field, and you can tune into it. And you don't have to worry that, oh, I'm not sure that, what if I don't know what the right frequency is? You don't have to know what the frequency is because your soul knows what the frequency is, and your animal soul knows what that frequency is. And all we need to do is tune out all of the chatter that keeps our mind busy so that our heart cannot focus on connecting with our animal companion on the other side. And I'm going to teach you how to access it. I'm going to teach you how to access it because it can be done. And I want you to be able to do it. I want you to be able to access the quantum field, not just for connection with your animal companion, which is what this channel is all about, because it helps to bring us a sense of healing. But Pat knows this, I know. Sherry knows this, I know. Jen knows this, I know. And I'm just picking on some people whose names I happen to recognize in the comments. I'm trying not to look at the comments, scroll by. I just saw one from I think it's Lauren, right? Magnificent Sales about DMT. So I'll go back and look at all those comments after we're through here. Okay, so I got distracted. Tuning in. So, how to access it, because you can access it not just for connecting with your animal companion, you can access it for anything. There is knowledge that is ready for you to receive. When you are ready to receive it, it will be there for you. And I'm going to show you a way to do it. I'm going to show you how I do it. This is how I am able to connect with your animal companions on the other side. It's not magic. It's not a parlor trick. It is trusting that there is this field and that your animal companions want to come through. And 9 times out of 10, it happens. But then there's always that little glitch, which is so beautiful. Like we had 2 weeks ago with Pudge and Nico, and it was Pudge's turn, and Nico just so desperately wanted to come through that Nico's the one who came through. But they're coming from the same place. They're all residing in the fields, and we know how to access it. So it's not imagination, it's resonance. I love the word resonance. When you can resonate with their frequency and they can resonate with your frequency, the magic happens. I'm gonna really go down the rabbit hole a little bit here. It is bigger than pets. I started to mention that you can use it for anything, but I mean, when I say anything, you can use it for anything. Bigger than pets. Any animal that has ever left an energetic blueprint, any person that has ever left an energetic blueprint, you can connect with any animal, any wild animal that has crossed to the other side. So if anybody like has ever wanted to get in touch with Elsa, the lion, or even extinct animals, I'll tell you something that I learned about extinct animals. They're only extinct on Earth. They're not extinct forever. They're only extinct in the physical here on Earth. Their energetic blueprint is still in the field of everything. It's still there. So it's not it's not a novelty. It's not some parlor trick. It's how you can actually learn to connect with this quantum field so that you can actually start to live like your fullest life because you have access to all this information. So our animals are showing us the door. They are showing us through the door so that we can have a larger conversation. I mean, we can make this bigger than this. So there is a heaven for pets. You can call it heaven. You can call it the Rainbow Bridge, but it is everywhere. And I'm going to show you how to do this. And we're going to do it with something called an attunement. Where's my attunement? I did put my attunement over on my notes, so let me open that up. I'll take a quick peek at some comments. What is DMT? Because I want to try that. DMT is dimethyltryptamine. I don't know. It is it when we talk about plant medicine, and a super quick thing about this plant medicine, things like ayahuasca, peyote, magic mushrooms, all of those things that were practiced by indigenous cultures, and now they have become sometimes recreational in this world, but they are still used to they produce DMT is just one compound that it helps the body produce. However, your body can produce DMT, which is like the spiritual compound. There's another name for it, but it gets produced in your brain. You can do it through meditation, and you can do it through this connection. It is what connects you to the field. And it can be amazing people, indigenous people. So shamans from Peru. I know that in New Zealand, Australia, I'm trying to think of wherever there were indigenous populations that in far back as ancient times practiced with plant medicine. It was to be able to have the impact of DMT so that they could connect to the field, that they could connect to this beautiful higher realm. When you take a lot of it, you can have a vision if you would like to have a vision, but we're talking about how to stay consciously aware and still be able to access the field. Enough about that. So let me bring up my Charlie, the nuns. For those of you who may not be aware, every once in a while we have a running joke about the nuns because I call myself a recovering Catholic. I was raised in the Catholic tradition, and I've since stepped far away from that. But every once in a while we have to joke about the nuns. So that's what it's like an inside joke for the SoulPet channel. Where are my notes? Hang tight while I bring this up. Not there. Bear with me just a second. Bear with me. One of these days I will have a moderator. One of these days. Here we go. Okay, if you guys are in a place where you can do this with me, if you're not in a place where you can do this with me, like I know that for Dana usually doesn't catch this until the next day and she's at work. If you're not in a place where if you're happen to be driving your car and just listening along, don't stop everything. Don't take your hands off the wheel. But if you're in a place where you can do this with me, I'm going to take you through 3 steps. So this is a 3-step process that you can do anytime you want. You're going to follow my voice with this one, but you can do this whenever, wherever you choose to. And I would encourage you to practice. As many of you know, practice, 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 just like playing the piano, just like becoming a good soccer player, whatever your thing, an artist, it takes practice. It's something that you want to do over and over and over again until you get really comfortable with it. When I first started to do this, I was in the spiritual closet, guys. I didn't tell a soul because I didn't trust myself. And now just doing it again and again and again and again, complete trust and seeing the results. That's why I completely trust it. So we're going to start with what I talked about last week, and that is the heart-brain coherence. I've shared this many times, but last week I gave you a quick 60-second. It's super easy to do. Heart-brain coherence. It is a term that was coined by the Heart Math Institute, a well-respected nonprofit organization that is studying the electromagnetic field of the heart and its relationship to the brain, and how when our brain is completely stressed out, then our heart gets stressed out. But we can use a specific easy technique that will get our heart back into a natural rhythm that allows the electromagnetic field to connect with the electromagnetic field of everything. Every single person's heart, all of you, we are all connected in our heart space. And it's also connected with the electromagnetic field of the earth. There's been experiment after experiment after experiment where 9/11, I believe, is one of the examples where they measured the global heart rate. And after 9/11, the unity of everyone's heart in both grief and sympathy and awareness of each other as human beings, we came into huge heart coherence. But we're just going to talk about heart coherence for ourselves. So we want to be able to allow our heart to become coherent with our brain, which allows us to be able to connect to the quantum field. Stressed out people have much more difficult time accessing the quantum field. But I think that's a learning process too. We are learning how to get beyond the stress. We are learning how to leave the external environment behind us, how to learn what it means to go inside, to be able to connect with this quantum field. So we are going to do so, and then we're gonna play a little bit with this field, with this energy. I'm going to show you how to do it. First thing though is I would like you to get coherent, and one of the ways that we do that is by giving ourselves permission. We give ourselves permission to take 5 minutes and let everything else be unimportant. Nothing else is more important right now than trying to connect with your animal companion. So let's do it. Give yourself permission to do that. And I have like my notes are covering the whole screen. So we are just going to hope that we are still alive here because I don't see anybody. There we go. Okay. All right. We're still good. But now I lose the notes. It's okay. I really don't need them. I know exactly what I want to do. We are going to first touch our head right here. Just this is where your third eye in the spiritual, in the metaphysical world, your third eye, your pineal gland. Just touch your head right here. And this is where your thought center is. Your thinking, your brain. This is where your thinking goes on. It's not necessarily where thoughts come from, but this is your thinking center that gets stressed out when we think about too many things, when we've got overwhelm. And then I want you to touch your heart space, the single most powerful energetic field in your entire body. And when you just touch it with your fingers, touch your heart space, it brings your awareness right to that heart space. And then you take 3 nice breaths, and 3 easy breaths. When you breathe in, let's just say for a count of 4, but it can be anything. You breathe in, and when you exhale for a period of time longer than you inhale. So if you breathe in and count to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you would exhale, say, for a count of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You might not be able to get to 6. That's okay. The goal is to be able to exhale just a little bit longer than you inhale. And what that does is activate your vagus nerve, activate your parasympathetic nervous system. And that means that you step out of fight or flight, which is where we spend our stressed out days. We step out of fight and flight and we step into calm and safety. So do this with me 3 times. And I automatically close my eyes. You don't have to. Once more. And now you've brought yourself into a place of calm. And it's okay if those little thoughts just like start to creep back in, the things that take your mind off of being present right here, right now. Just take another deep breath. Take another deep breath and bring your focus back to your breathing. Now I want you to do something else with me. You ready to play? I teach this in my Reiki classes, and some of you have experienced this. And we're only going to do this is a mini version of it. I want you to take your hands together like this. I'm looking at myself on the screen, and I want you to rub them together. And I want you to create some friction. I want you to create some heat. So we are rubbing our hands together. Keep on going. We're going to do this for a few seconds. You can kind of feel that friction in between your hands. You feel the heat grow between your hands. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Now, don't take your hands off the steering wheel if you're driving. But okay, now I want you to gently come to a stop, but don't take your hands apart. Hold your hands there and then slowly start to pull your hands apart and kind of go back and forth a little bit. They're only like an inch or two apart. But can you feel that sensation between your hands? There's a tingling, there may be a warmth. A little bit of the warmth comes from the friction that you just created, but that heaviness of the air, you can almost touch it with each of your hands. Play with it a little bit. That is the field. That is the thing. It is everywhere. You can reach out and grab some more and pull it inside. You can make a little ball out of it. You can feel the energy. You can kind of like play with it, like a little elastic band going back and forth and back and forth. That is the field that we are playing with. I want you to get a physical understanding of what that field is, which is why we kind of played that little game. Now I am going to check my notes. All right, so we have so energy between the hands. That's step 2. Then the third step, here's what I want you to do. All right. So you've got this energy between your hands. You've got your heart, you've got your heart, you've got your brain, you've got this beautiful energy. I want you to whisper with me. Whisper with me. I am here. You are here. And you're talking to your animal companion. I am here. You are here. I am here. You are here. I am here. You are here. Now pause and just feel them. Feel their presence. I can feel so many beautiful animals around me right now. They have stepped into your presence. They have stepped into your field. You are now attuned to them. You are at the same vibration they are. They are at the same frequency you are. You are together in a state of calm and peace and trust and knowing. This is where the rainbow bridge is. You are now on the rainbow bridge. You have stepped onto it when you let your heart and your brain become coherent, when you feel that field around you and you acknowledge that you are with them and they are with you. You have stepped onto the rainbow bridge and you can connect with and you can talk to them in any way that you wish. You can ask questions. You can simply sit here. I love the feeling of just sitting with my beautiful animal companions with no expectation. No expectation. They don't have to do anything. I don't have to do anything. We can just share this beautiful, loving feeling together. And that's how you do it. That's how you connect on the rainbow bridge. And you don't have to wish and you don't have to hope and you don't have to pretend. You can actually step onto the rainbow bridge and join them with you and join them there and have them join you. Okay, so let me go back to our screen here. There we go. I see everybody. I am going to check for questions now. That was your little journey. So that was explaining how this beautiful field where the rainbow bridge is, it is right here. It's here. It's everywhere. And all we need to do is take a few minutes, and you can do it anytime you want. You can do it before sleep. You can do it when you wake up. You can do it in the middle of the day. And you have to go run out to your car and sit down because you've just been overwhelmed with the feeling. You can just sit down and ask to connect with them. All right, I am going to now check for, let me just see how much time we are. All right, so we're at about 50 minutes, which is cool. I will check for questions and scroll through the comments. I just see one real quick here. My hands felt stuck together. That's okay. That's totally cool. I just want you to be able to get a feeling of what that, now I can still feel it. As soon as I start to talk about it, I feel this buzzing around my hands. I feel a tingling, a buzzing, a sensation. It's almost like the air between my hands is heavier. There's a density to it that I didn't feel before I started doing that. And it just reminds you that all this stuff that we think is empty space is full of energy. It's full of energy and it's full of information. And it's the information that we are trying to access. Okay, here we go. I'm going to scroll back up to see what kind of questions there are. The one I don't think I asked yet is, or answered yet, can you describe the Rainbow Bridge from their perspective, what they see and what they do? I am not 100% sure that I can. What I believe is that they are able, I don't know what sight looks like from that perspective. I think it's more feeling. I think it's more energetic. Do they know who we are? Do they know where we are? Yes. Do they have eyes? I don't think that there's eyes the way that we think there are eyes. I'm not even sure that they are in a physical body the way that we think. They're not like, there's not a dog sitting there wagging its tail on the Rainbow Bridge. I believe it's an energetic presence, a spiritual presence. and that they can help us to feel their physical. So, like, I've heard Jack's nails on the floor. I heard Jack drinking from the toilet. I felt a cat beyond my chest. I believe that they are able to give us physical sensations that remind us of who they were in the physical, but I think it's much more energetic than that. And I know that doesn't fully answer your question, but I will see if I can come up with more answers for that in the future. um, Maybe a member post for the upcoming live stream so questions can be posted there. Oh, that's a great idea, Kali. That is a great idea. I am writing that one down right now. Members only post. So for those of you who are not actual channel members, to become a channel member, it's a very, very affordable little monthly fee, but it lets you get access, including members only posts. I haven't been as good at the member only Zooms, but we are going to have a member only Zoom. I love being able to connect with you guys face to face. And so I'm writing that down, that we have a members only post so that you can post your questions there. That's a great idea, Kali. Thank you. I'm going to scroll through some of the comments if I have to go back, but aren't they 5D so they can be in multiple places? That's what Jen says. Absolutely, 100%. When I try to explain these things, it is from our limited 3D perspective, and 3D simply means that physical. So a physical body. And I've tried to explain dimensions before, but sometimes we get too wrapped up in that, like 3D, 4D, 5D, and where the angels are in 12D. And it's just that the universe is so big, but when we access the quantum field, it allows us to go right to where we need to go. And the souls who are on the other side, they have much more access to all of that. So they are multi-dimensional. It's not just that they're 5D, they're multi-dimensional and can access many things at many times, be in many places at many times. And that's not just for animals, that is for everything that has ever lived anywhere, ever in the universe, has that ability. I heard about the Pong game on the breakdown video recently. Yeah, Kali, that's exactly where it was. That's I've heard it many times. He's told the story before. That was Greg Braden telling the story of the Pong experiment. He explained it much better than I do, but that these neurons from a brain started to play Pong without being taught how to play Pong. So there was universal memory. There was memory that went back to Pong in the 1970s when we were when all of us of a certain age were playing Pong. And it will continue that way. I'm sure there are many other things that universal memory has that can be tapped into. It's why so many people believe that they are reincarnations of Cleopatra or reincarnations of I can't think of any other examples, but it's because who was the woman that was burned at the stake? Because that energetic imprint was so strong that we can tap that more than anybody can tap into it. And so if we want to tap into it, we can. With Greg Braden, yes, that is correct. If anybody, I always love to share where I get some of these things. I watch Mayim Bialik, and even though her show has too many commercials, the commercial interruptions drive me crazy. There's one of the reasons that I stopped watching television, was ads. But regardless, she does a really nice job of interviewing people. She has a way of pulling information out of them that not many people do. She gets them to say things that they might not say in other interviews. So yes, it was the interview with Greg Braden. I'm going to just scroll down to see if I see any more questions. I see you guys supporting each other. What frequency would my pet be on? Oh, so Pat, you don't have to know what frequency your pet would be on. Your pet is on your heart frequency, and everybody's heart frequency is a little bit different when it comes to their soul pets. Hearts are, we have an electromagnetic field with the physical heart. So our physical heart is able to produce this electromagnetic field. It extends about 5 to 8 feet from our body. But the only reason that we think that it extends 5 to 8 feet from our body is because that's as far as we can measure. I think they have measured horses electromagnetic heart field goes out about 12 feet, but I suspect that it goes far, far beyond that. When I send heart sent feelings out to family members or people who have asked for Reiki or any if a situation like right now, if I placed my hand on my heart and I hold out my hand like this, and I feel like I'm just sending love out to everyone who may be suffering from war or famine, or it just goes where it needs to go. So your frequency with your pet is your frequency. All you need to do is get your heart coherent with your brain, and your animal companion will be vibrating at the same frequency as you. I used to think that, like, I used to think, but how do I know, right? How do I know what the frequency of a dog is? How do I know what the frequency of money is? How do I know what the frequency of health is? You don't have to know what the frequency is. It's not like a radio where you have the dial and so if you live in Milwaukee that you tune to 96.5 if you want the rock and roll channel. So that's an easy one. Once you get connected with your animal companion, you'll know how to get there right away. You'll be able to tune into it instantly. Otherwise, you're kind of playing with the dial a little bit until it tunes in. And that's what the heart brain coherence is. You're kind of tuning the dial a little bit until you go, ah, okay, I'm calm. I'm not stressed. And oh, look at that. I can feel Logan right with me. That's all you need to do. So are you conveying that the air environment around us is a collection of all past thoughts, emotions, humans, animals, and Donna, you nailed it. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. That the air is not just air, and it's not so much the air. The air is something that we breathe in that has I believe it. Uh-oh, my camera's going funky. Oh, because I'm moving my hand. Doesn't like that. The, the air, the air is something that has a frequency and a vibration of its own, just like water, just like the sun, just like the moon. I'm talking more about space. So all of the space that is between everything is where all of that information is contained. And it's all of the information that ever was. So just thinking about Earth, forget about any other planetary existence, just here on Earth. If the Earth has been around for 10 billion years, there's 10 billion years of information out there. It's why we are just now discovering that there are ancient civilizations that were long before we thought. Where we thought that civilization went back to a certain point in time, we're now discovering with all the new scientific discoveries that it actually goes back even beyond that. So let's just say 11,000, right about now, it's 11,000 years um, BC or before the Common Era, whatever the correct term is for that now. So right about now, it's 11,000 years is as far back as we go. But what we are suspecting, and this is one of the things that Greg Braden is also trying to uncover, is that there have been periods of time going back billions of years where there have been technologically advanced societies that for one reason or another, an ice age or a flood or an asteroid, that they have been wiped out. And little by little, we're discovering evidence of those ancient cultures. I don't know how I got on that topic because of the quantum field around us, the collection. Oh yeah, so it is the collection of billions of years worth. And I have no way of demonstrating this, but it is my understanding that it's not just in the past, it's past, present, and future, that only on Earth do we experience time in a linear fashion, that it's really all just, it's all happening at the same time all together, but that's more than we can wrap our little human minds around. What's DMT? DMT is that chemical that's produced in the brain, or you can produce it naturally, or you can take a substance, a plant medicine like a mushroom, that will allow you to experience an altered state of mind. Ayahuasca is another example of that. Even the mention of the nuns didn't distract me. You're awesome. You're awesome, Collie. Yeah, I did. I'm trying to be much more focused now. So I have my notes off to the side. I don't pay attention to the comments, and we're just checking this out now. So if you do happen to be on this live stream at some point in the future, and this part of the conversation doesn't thrill you, you've got most of the meat of it now. Now we're going back to, and there's Charlie going, nuns? Because I joke about how when I was raised, I was incredibly influenced by an education system with nuns. And somehow we all just started talking about nuns in a funny way. It's a drug. Yeah, kind of like ayahuasca. Yeah, you can look it up. There are many, 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 many videos. If you were to look up what is DMT, it will tell you exactly what DMT is. And it's not something that we talk about too much on this channel. In indigenous populations, it is a legal thing. In states like Colorado, where um, anything goes, but in many places it is an illegal substance. So we just don't dwell on it here. I got beheaded because I broke the rules. Not on this channel. I'm guessing in a past life. I think there are some of us who have felt, excuse me, we have energetic imprints, energetic memory. Sorry, I got a little frog. We have energetic memories of experiences that we have had in another lifetime. And I choose to use the word in another lifetime as opposed to the past, because they're all happening at the same time in different dimensions. Way, way deep metaphysical conversation for this channel. And I don't know that we will get into that, but I've also experienced what I feel is a different lifetime. I have trauma that I've tried to sleep through as well. I was recently, who was I talking to about trauma? Oh, with somebody in person. I had met somebody in person. We were talking about traumatic events and experiences of past lifetimes, and how, for me, I would have horrible dreams. I'm just going to share this real quick. I would have nightmares of being of tidal waves, just enormous, and not just tidal waves, like the whole ocean swelling up and swallowing me. And I always had two children. I have a boy and a girl in my arm, and they're horrible dreams. One dream was ice. But it all involves water. One dream is where my daughter was stuck under the ice and I couldn't get her. And I would have the dream after dream after dream of these and I can't save my children is what the dream is. So what I did for that, and I took that to mean that somewhere in the past, whether it was something cool like Atlantis, who knows, or the flood, the flood that every culture in the whole wide world, going back a thousand eons, that every culture has the flood story. So somewhere in the flood. But what I did was I sat down in a meditation and I asked a different version of myself to come in and please save my children, and the dream stopped. So I think that there are ways that we can work through that kind of stuff. And I love Nico. We are all a soul family, 100%. Yeah, it's definitely in magic mushrooms. The nuns are proud. You're so funny. Okay, I got to the bottom. All right, if there's any other questions that you guys have to ask that I have missed, go ahead and post them now. Scroll up, mention something with this DMT, scroll up to see your comment. Okay, I think I've addressed it. And if anybody ever would like a little bit more information, you can just reach out to me privately. I do happen to know a little bit about it only because I resided for a long, long time in Colorado. So I know all kinds, I have some sense about it. And I also know that ayahuasca is offered at places. It can be offered in a religious context. It can be offered, so you'd have to be, there would have to be like a church. And there are a couple of those in the United States where it is permitted. Otherwise, you travel to Peru, and that's where indigenous peoples, shamans practice with it. And you can go do it there. But there's also some really good specials on Netflix about it. If you subscribe to the Gaia channel, I think they have some also. And Cheryl says, I believe I was a Native American in a past lifetime. And I have an Oracle past life deck on Friday. Oh yeah, right. So that's another way to receive messages. We've talked about Oracle cards before. I've recently started to do on a regular basis. I'm going to try to do every other little video. It's going to be an Oracle card deck, because it's another way of accessing information from the field. So you do this little exercise that I just went with you tonight. You do the heart coherence. You say, I am here, you are here, I am here, you are here, and you go, I mustn't be doing it right. Like, how do I get? Oracle cards are a great way to receive insight from the quantum field. It's like a little gift from the universe that says, I understand. I understand your human brain is having difficulty wrapping itself around the fact that you can access all of the information that ever was and ever is. Like, that's a mouthful. And so use an oracle card deck, not a tarot deck that predicts the future and gives you dire consequences if you make a left turn instead of a right. Don't do that. Oh my God, don't marry that person. You don't have to worry about any of that. An oracle card is about receiving beautiful messages. And I only use messages that have messages of hope and healing and inspiration and that give me ways of how I can proceed. And they're so spot on. You cannot make it up. You cannot make it up when I pull a card and somebody reaches out to me and says, how did you know that I needed to hear that today? Well, I didn't, but I trusted that the universe knew. Um, and you can do that for yourself as well for messages from your animal companion. You have a beautiful oracle card deck. You just ask for the message. I just kind of shuffle the deck. I don't have them here with me right now, or I'd show you. I shuffle the deck until a card either feels natural in my hand or it falls onto the counter in front of me, and then I read what the message is. And it's always something incredibly pertinent to what I wanted to know or what I was looking to know. During the last Zoom, you drew the guardian angel card for Gary. Oh, beautiful. I love that. I absolutely love that. The wild side deck. I do have a reading coming up from the wild deck. I have a wild mystics deck, the animal spirit deck, the sacred power deck, and angels and ancestors, along with the oracle, the book of oracle readings. And I'm going to try to do it on a regular basis. Like I've got a couple of them already done, ready to go. Okay, I think that about does it. You would be, Sharon. You would be, because I know that I know that that Benny would not have wanted anything other than for you to be here. And Z too, and Z with pockets. I think of all you guys, all of you guys and your beautiful animals that you've let me connect with. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, because they have done so much for me personally. When I think about where I was 10 years ago and where I am now, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for your beautiful animal companions. Okay, my friends, I guess that wraps it up. We are a little bit over an hour. So for next week, I will make a members only post so that you can post your questions there, so that none of them get mysteriously go into the ether wherever they happen to be. Members, I'll be back in touch with you, because we are way overdue for a member Zoom. Members only Zooms are where we just get together and get to know each other and connect with our animal companions. And I love to do a little teaching there too. I love to teach some ways that that you can connect with your animal companions. All right, guys, have a beautiful, wonderful night. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you all again next week. And until the next time, may animals light your way. Take care, everybody.